A menu designed to be forgotten and remembered. No one left talking about specific dishes, and that was entirely intentional. This story matters now because modern dining often chases memorability through spectacle. Dishes are built to photograph, to trend, to be recalled instantly. But one restaurant chose the opposite path. To understand how a menu was designed to be forgotten and remembered, we need to return to a place that questioned what memory actually means. Because today, the same confusion between attention and impact shapes how experiences are designed everywhere. The idea emerged from frustration. Guests remembered names of dishes, but not how they felt. Menus became checklists. Meals became collections. The chef wanted something else, an experience that resisted recall, but lingered emotionally. So the menu was stripped of anchors. No signature dishes, no recurring titles, no fixed sequence. Each service was composed fresh, then released. Nothing was meant to repeat exactly. At first, the approach confused guests. They asked what they had eaten the last time. The staff answered honestly, "We don't know." That uncertainty unsettled some. Others leaned in. Flavors were familiar, but unnamed. Techniques were subtle, not declared. Nothing demanded attention. The food arrived, made its impression, then disappeared. Critics struggled to write about it. Without reference points, reviews became abstract. Words like calm, fluid, and elusive appeared. The restaurant resisted summary. Behind the scenes, the kitchen worked harder than ever. Designing something to vanish requires restraint. Nothing could be too sharp, too strange, too iconic. Balance mattered more than brilliance. The chef wanted guests to remember the evening, not the menu. The conversation, not the plate. How time moved, not what was served. And slowly, something unexpected happened. Guests began returning not to repeat, but to rediscover. The menu had done its job, but the real test was still ahead. Could something designed to fade still endure? As weeks passed, patterns emerged in unexpected ways. Guests could not name dishes, but they described sensations with precision. A warmth that arrived halfway through the meal. A quiet pause that felt deliberate. A sense of lightness when they left. The staff noticed it too. Conversations shifted. Instead of explaining plates, they listened. Guests spoke about time, mood, and connection. The menu dissolved into background, allowing experience to surface. This unsettled the industry. In a culture obsessed with signatures and ownership, a menu without anchors felt irresponsible. How do you build reputation on what cannot be recalled? The chef accepted the risk. Reputation built on memory fades anyway. He wanted something deeper, an imprint that resisted language. However, pressure mounted. Investors worried about marketability. Media requested clarity. Diners asked for favorites. The absence of repetition challenged expectations of value. Inside the kitchen, discipline intensified. Cooks had to avoid instinctively creating signatures. Repetition was tempting. When something worked beautifully, the urge to bring it back was strong. But repetition would weaken the idea. The menu became an exercise in letting go. Every successful dish was retired immediately. Nothing stayed long enough to become identity. This created tension within the team. Craft thrives on mastery, and mastery thrives on repetition. Removing that cycle felt like erasing progress. But slowly, a different mastery formed. One of balance, pacing, and restraint. The kitchen learned to shape memory without carving it into shape. Guests returned more frequently, not chasing dishes, but atmosphere. The restaurant became a place to reset, not to collect experiences. Yet the question lingered, unresolved. In a world that rewards recall, could forgetting be sustainable? And that question would soon force the restaurant into its most difficult decision. The difficulty surfaced when success became measurable. Reservations tightened, reviews grew warmer, demand increased, and with demand came expectation. Guests arrived hoping to feel what others had described. That hope carried pressure. If nothing stood out, would they feel disappointed? If nothing lingered clearly, would they feel cheated? The chef felt the tension immediately. Designing for disappearance works only when trust exists. Expectation threatens that trust by searching for proof. Inside the kitchen, the team debated quietly. Should one dish return occasionally? A soft anchor. something to reassure. The idea tempted everyone. A single point of recognition could ease anxiety without betraying the philosophy, but the chef hesitated. One anchor would become two. Two would become a signature. The menu would harden. Memory would shift from feeling to recall. The restaurant stood at a crossroads. Preserve the idea and risk misunderstanding, or compromise slightly and gain security. Neither path felt safe. The turning point arrived unexpectedly. A guest sent a note days after dining. Not praise, not complaint, just a sentence. I don't remember what I ate, but I remember who I was with. That line clarified everything. The menu was not failing. It was succeeding quietly. The chef chose to protect that success. No anchors were added. No reassurance offered. The restaurant accepted that it would not be for everyone. Some guests stopped returning. Others became regulars, drawn by the absence of demand. The dining room felt lighter again. In resisting the urge to be remembered clearly, the restaurant reclaimed its balance. And in doing so, it moved toward its final realization. The realization settled gently, without fanfare. The menu did not need to be remembered to matter. It needed to leave space for what came after. Over time, the restaurant's influence appeared in subtle ways. Other menus softened, courses blurred. Chefs questioned the value of signature dishes. Experience began reclaiming ground from performance. Guests spoke differently about meals, less about what was eaten, more about how they felt. Time, connection, and presence regained weight. The restaurant never grew large. It never franchised. Its model resisted scaling, but it endured because it asked less of memory and more of attention. In a world that documents everything, this approach felt radical. To design something meant to fade. To trust that meaning does not require recall. The menu was forgotten nightly and remembered quietly. That balance became its legacy. Because sometimes the most enduring experiences are not the ones we can describe. They are the ones that change how we remember everything else. What the forgettable menu also revealed is something about the relationship between memory and meaning. We tend to assume that what we remember is what mattered, that the dishes we can name are the ones that fed us most deeply, that if an experience does not leave a clear trace, it did not leave a significant one. The restaurant challenged all of that, not theoretically, empirically. Guests who could not recall a single course reported that the evening was among the most meaningful meals they had experienced. Guests who returned frequently, without being able to reconstruct what they had eaten on previous visits, reported a specific quality of comfort that they associated with no other restaurant. The experience was clearly doing something. It was doing it through channels that explicit memory does not govern. Mood, ease, the felt sense of time moving well. The particular quality of conversation that happens when neither person is performing for meal, when the food is doing its job so quietly that it clears space for other things, for the people across the table, for the hour itself, for whatever is actually on your mind, unencumbered by the performance of being a diner who is appreciating a notable experience. Most restaurants, however excellent, activate a layer of self-consciousness in their guests. You are aware of being somewhere worthy of attention, of having an experience that should be appreciated, of performing your appreciation correctly. That self-consciousness is not unpleasant, exactly, but it is a form of distance between you and the food, between you and the people you are with, between you and the particular quality of attention that produces genuine memory rather than narrative memory. The menu designed to be forgotten removed that self-consciousness. By giving the mind nothing to track, it freed the mind to simply be present. And presence is what produces the kind of memory that does not need to be named to be real. The guest who wrote, "I don't remember what I ate, but I remember who I was with," understood this intuitively. The meal had succeeded not by impressing memory, but by releasing it, by making itself less important than what it was creating space for. That is a rare achievement, and it required everything the chef had to offer. Not to produce spectacular dishes, but to produce nothing spectacular, night after night, and trust that the absence of spectacle was itself the gift. The most enduring experiences are not the ones we can describe. They are the ones that change how we remember everything else. That line, which opens the story's final movement, is the truest thing the restaurant ever expressed. And it expressed it not through food, through the quality of what the food made possible. A